What is up, everyone? Happy Merry Hump Day. Welcome to another episode of Banger Wednesday. I have As We Rise and Force Feed in the house with us, and we have a great show lined up for you guys tonight. We had a few hurdles to jump on episode one. We think we ironed some of them out, maybe not all of them, but we do have a plan in place to hopefully avoid them. So real quick, coming into the episode, as always, we listen to the Banger Wednesday Spotify playlist. That may or may not have been a little pixelated for some of you guys. Apologize for that, but we're not going to abandon it. That's what we do. So all those bands were bands that were previously on the Banger Wednesday Spotify. Whoa. Banger Wednesday show, and now they live on the Banger Wednesday Spotify playlist. And one of those bands I wanted to highlight real quick, shout out to our boy Ben. His band Oceans and Silhouette was the last band we played on the intro, and just I think it was either today or last night he announced he is now officially a PRS Guitars artist. So shout out to our boy. Yeah, he's been on the show a couple times, and great things are starting to happen for him, so that's awesome. But again, I'm not going to waste too much time on anything else. I want to go straight into the intros. So joining me tonight on my co-host panel, I got my boy Dom. He is the vocalist for the band Distance is Dead and is now a part of a new band called A Day on Earth. And he is also an avid TikTok content creator. So he is joining us tonight to co-host. We also have Bo, guitarist from the band, Elijah, and our resident gear guru. And for those of you that don't know me, I am Forge, the guy behind the mask of Forged by Titans, and creator of Banger Wednesday. So real short and sweet tonight on the intros because I want to get down to the nitty-gritty with these bands. So real quick, one more plug. I apologize. Again, this is season 3, episode 2. We're happy to be in season 3, and to be quite honest, I'm surprised I'm in season 3. I never thought I'd get here, but again, a lot of changes and whatnot. So I do want to remind everyone that we do have a merch store up. We have a ton of cool stuff on there. All the proceeds go right back into the show to do all these awesome things with these bands. And like upgrading to this new Riverside app, which is allowing us to stream on multiple platforms at once. And I don't know, we just have a bunch of really cool stuff lined up. Some hosts from other shows that do similar music podcasts are going to show up later on in the season. So all of it goes back into finding exposure for the bands that we feature. So if you wouldn't mind taking a look at the merch, maybe picking up something, and if you do, tag us on social media wearing it, sporting that swag, and we'll be sure to give you a shout out as well. So now we're going straight into the bands. The first band I got with me tonight is, well, let me back up. I got Zach, Marcus, and Jake in here from the band Force Feed joining us. So, guys, why don't you step in here, tell us a little bit about the band and the track we're about to play, and I'm going to get that pulled up in the background. So, the floor is yours, guys.
Hops, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure thing. Forge, thanks for having us on, man.
No problem.
Yeah, no problem. We are Force Feed. We are from Lakeland, Florida. Just a up and coming band, just getting things started off and trying to make some noise here early on. We just released our first song, Prescribed, no more than a month ago, followed by the song you guys will be hearing, Lab Rat, which we just got done doing, and then we have more ready to go and ready to be released, which would hopefully follow with an EP in the near future. We pass it off to my boys, Marcus and Jake. Go for it.
Yeah, Jake. So I'm Jake. I help a lot with the creative lyrics writing. I know Haas. Me and Haas are teachers, which is kind of funny. So we shared a classroom together, and he had told me that he was in a band that used to tour, and he used to open up for bands like Attila and such like that way back when the scene was really popping off. And life kind of gone around, and we're doing some great things. And he told me he could scream. I was like, well, me and my buddy Marcus make music. You want to come by? He's like, sure. And we heard him scream, and then that was pretty much the beginning of it all. So he's been doing great. And then my partner right here, known him since I was 2 years old, and we've been making music ever since. But he's a really, really talented dude, and I'll let him talk more about what he's got going on.
You can come out. Hi, Nick. Hey, I'm Marcus. I play guitar. I pretty much record everything on my little Mac in our living room in Lakeland, Florida. I don't really got much to say other than that. We started making metal, like we've been more into like the punk scene ish. But we've been leaning towards metal since we found a lead singer. We haven't met anyone that can scream, and it just happened to work out the way it did. Him working with Jake. Other than that,
Yeah, we've always been in need of a singer
Yeah.
slash screamer, and we've gone through, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, and none of it really fit kind of what we had going on. And me and Mark's like a lot of different music, and then when I ran into Haas, just sort of by chance, our music, the things that we like to listen to, really ran together. So it was just it was a perfect storm, and now like we're all really, really good friends. It happened the right way, I would say.
Haas, got anything else?
Nah, man, I'm good. Marcus is too humble. He's kind of the brains behind it all. He's been kind of handling a lot of the instruments on his side and putting everything together. And I just came in with some vocals, man. And we got a good thing going. It's been fun, but yeah, my hat is tipped to Marcus and kind of the stuff he's been putting out there. It's been really good. I couldn't resist when I heard metal. When I haven't played it in 10 years, I'm like, you know what, boys, I'm back in. Can't.
Zach, tell him about when you came over here to record.
I was sucked back in.
Tell him when you came over here to record a non-metal song, and then I pulled up.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
So Marcus had this like sort of like indie shoegazy kind of track, and the intent was for me to sing on it. And on my way out, I did okay on that particular recording day. And he was like, "Yo, man, you want to just try this before you leave?" And I think I recorded a whole song for them in like one take, maybe within 20 minutes, and then from there we just continued to write.
Just playing to the strengths, really. I mean, me, Haas, and Marcus are used to making anything from rap to when we're little, like just
when we're hammered drunk.
Yeah, just making stuff up on the fly, just having a good time, and really honing in on the talents that we all have to offer. It's a perfect genre, and we all love metal music, and it's been a great experience all around. And like Haas was saying, we've been together for probably 4 or 5 months, something like that. So I'm pretty pleased where we're at right now, and the future of Force Feed is looking really bright.
So. Coming up on 40K on our first one.
Yeah.
Oh, the second one. Been out for 2 weeks on Spotify. I think something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see if I can get this track queued back up. While you guys were talking, I managed to click the close button on it, so I apologize for that. That's not how we do things around here.
Nothing.
All right.
I got to I'm in bed, dude.
It was birthday month.
Yeah. We're going somewhere.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. I had to find my way around the keyboard again. All right, guys. I got that track queued up for these guys, and we're going to take a listen.
Trade Zions. This is, I think, Labrador. Yeah.
Okay, well, Josh, Mr. Forge is getting that all figured out. The audio's kind of being finicky, but I'll jump in and ask you guys a question real quick while we're getting that figured out. What's your guys' biggest musical influences? Like, what can we expect on this song?
So Haas, I think he's still muted right now, but it's really tough because Haas is 34, I think. So we kind of really grew up just like a hair off of the music taste that we had growing up. So So I mean, me and Marcus here, our biggest influence is probably it was Take Me Back Sunday, then The Story So Far. There's a lot of really good bands in between there, but when it comes to metal, I mean, you sort of grow out of different phases. But it was Attila, Devil Wears Prada, Attack. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Now we're huge Chelsea Grin fans. And Brand of Sacrifice. There's some
Chelsea
bands.
Grin's coming to St. Pete, by the way.
That's sick. There's a lot of bands that are obviously harder, in our opinion. And like I said, everyone's music taste just kind of develops. Like I used to love My Chemical Romance, and now I think that shit's pretty stupid. So, and so does Haas. Haas agrees. So Haas is on I love Green Day. I don't know if Marcus was the same way. Haas does not like Green Day.
Used to be my favorite band.
That's what I'm saying. So
we played Green Day live in 5th grade.
Yeah, we did.
Concert.
Yeah. So I appreciate the question, but that's sort of what we got going on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we're
I kinda-
excited to hear it.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna shout out my my young music taste.
I'm surprised he didn't say anything about that.
Yeah. No, I was really into like the mathcore. The scene was strong in 06 when I was a young buck. I was super into like Heavy Lolo, Horse the Band, Fear Before the March of Flames, anything of that genre. And then like those guys saying that they were into Attila and Attack. That's kind of how it all kind of kicked off. And I'm like, oh, I opened for those guys with my old band. They were pretty sweet. And
I was like, holy shit, that's fucking shit.
yeah. So like those bands have always been cool if they stuck around long enough. But I mean, I was always into them too.
Hell yeah. And so, guys, I apologize for that. I'm going to be real honest with you. I swear we're professionals. We know what we're doing. But to be honest with you, when I hit play, I was over here jamming out until Dom said something about Forge figuring it out because I thought it was playing on my end. But so, this is one of those situations where, you try and do something awesome, go to a new platform, and then you realize that you should just stayed where you were. No, I'm joking. But, okay, I do have that track queued up. We're going to go ahead and do it on Spotify, and we're going to check out this track. I apologize for that hiccup, but we got you queued up now, and we're going to check it out. So here we go, guys. Apologize again, but here we go. So there we go, guys. That was Force Feed. And you know what, Dom, you want to go ahead and kick it off for us here?
Heck yeah. No, I could Right off the bat, I could hear some of them older school influences. Those Fry screams were, dang, those all the screams were freaking brutal. But like the oh my god that came out at the end. Oh shit, dude, that was good. So yeah, that kind of it reminded me akin to like kind of literally old school, like was it Austin Carlisle, like Attack on Tack, Of Mice and Men. Um, yeah,
So
dude, that was
I
awesome.
he sounds like Motionless in
yeah,
White.
so we've heard he sounds like the lead singer of Motionless in White, like one of those first albums. I forgot what it was called, but
Creature.
yeah, Creatures. That was the album. So we got that, and I heard it again. I was like, shit, that man sounds, it sounds pretty similar. But no, yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from, man.
Dom,
Yeah,
I've heard that before, man. I've gotten a lot of the Attack comparisons. So I don't know how Carlisle did it, but I know that like whenever I record, it's like it's loud. It's just you got to just be cautious as to when we record it in the daytime.
Ken came in
At their house because
it hurt.
yeah, because you don't know if the neighbors are going to complain or not, because it's just it's pretty heavily belted out. I wish I could do it. It would sound good without so much push, but unfortunately, it's all or nothing.
right. I mean, and you look at like Attack on Tax, like with Stickly when they did like their little like music video vlog of them going through the studio and recording. They have some excerpts of Austin ripping those freaking screams, and dude, he's belting it out like
Yeah.
But it's a sound, like it really adds a lot of character to it, and I mean I think you did that wonderfully, man, in this song.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate y'all even just listening, man. It's still so cool to just have people tuning in and giving it a listen. It means a lot.
Yeah, man, that's what we're here for. We're just trying to get some exposure out to the littler bands who deserve to be big. You know what I mean? We have so many bands come on here, and even just listen to that song, like, man, there's no reason like bands that come on here like you guys shouldn't be just filling out stadiums. Like the amount of uniqueness you guys bring to really the genre and the roots, and when you can hear those roots that are coming in that honestly I fell in love with back in 2010, 2008. Like, I don't know, you guys are doing the metal community a justice. That sounds
I appreciate it, Dom.
That's so dope.
I guess I'll ask one more question here. But can you guys walk me through your guys' songwriting process?
Marcus.
The lyrics or just the music?
Let's just the music, and what's your guys' band's like? Walk me through your process from start to finish. Do you guys start with a riff, all get together?
I'll just kind of sit where I'm sitting right now and fuck around on Logic. I'll usually throw in a drum beat, and then I'll try to come up with a breakdown and throw something in the back. And then if there's any hiccups, I usually knock on his door. He'll be out here, and I'll be like, "Hey, man, what do I need to add?" Like the whole end of that last song of Lab Rat, he like was like, "Hey, we need to do this and this that like kind of." It was a transition part, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the breakdown at the end with the chorus going, that was like we were all kind of sitting here. That was like a last minute thing, and we're like, "Oh shit, that sounds kind of badass." And I mean, Zach, you were here for an hour and a half, and we just kind of threw the lyrics together on that one.
Yeah. So the writing. So every time we've kind of written a song, it's kind of taken on its own identity, and it happens its own organic way. There have been times where I'll sit on a song for like lyrically for like a week, and I'll come up with parts, and I'm like, all right, Marcus, I think I'm ready. I'm gonna come through. And then some of our more fun songs that we've done, like Lab Rat, that was all of us on the spot in a room, just like hashing it out, being like just real creative, and just letting everybody have a voice into the process.
So sorry, Hoss. Hoss, he screams very audibly or legibly or however it is, where you can hear most all.
Well.
Yeah. So you can hear most of the words he's saying. He's not doing anything where you're going, what the hell did he say? I mean, sometimes you'll hear it and go, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not super sure. But with that being the case, we really have to make sure that the lyrics are as brutal as possible, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, if you're just kind of like, doing whatever you need to do to make your shit sound badass, you can say whatever you want. So we try to put a premium on making sure the lyrics hit at the right time, but also have sort of a general theme to start, and then from there, like if we just said, "Oh, we're going to talk about a grave robbery" or something like that, and
We
then
actually do have a song about it. Or no, do we?
I'm not sure. We might have started
Something like
one,
that, yeah.
but anything like that, yeah. We just come up with something that we think is gonna be pretty cool, and you can write some pretty hard lyrics with.
Hiding a body.
Yeah, something like that, and then you sort of just we all spitball and throw lyrics in, and a lot of it is it's where it's gonna fit and all that stuff. But we make it happen pretty quick. There's not a whole lot of hiccups in what's going on. I mean, we'll all have our own ideas, and we kind of come in from different angles, and none of us are super. I don't think are super dominating or like, no, that's bullshit, blah, blah, blah. Like, I think we're all sort of on the same page of where we need to come and what's going to happen. We're not afraid to say, like, that's not going to work or stuff like that,
Or just tweak it or switch it up just a bit.
I mean, we're all pretty tough skinned, and we all know, again, that, we all come from different musical backgrounds that are fairly similar. But, I mean, there's not a whole lot of headbutting. I mean, Haas especially, he's super, super go with the flow.
Well, we're just fucking around.
Yeah, right.
And then it ends up sounding good.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're all here to do whatever we can. Especially me, I'm here to have sort of a second year and be a part of it. And it's just been really cool to see kind of what Marks can come up with, and then how we can all sort of tweak it to get the exact sound that we want at the end.
Heck yeah. And I mean, some of those definitely I listen to a podcast called The Independent Podcast. It deals with a lot of indie artists. A lot of them come on, they're successful indie artists who've made it. They kind of will interview their process and stuff. But one of the big things a lot of them will do is, they're trying to get out, 50 songs in a year. And so they'll have all of these songs and these demos that they've made. And for the most part, a lot of them don't hit. Like, they spend like a week on them, and if they don't go and they don't click, instantly they kind of move on. So it's kind of cool to hear that you guys are like, yeah, almost all of our songs we've gotten together and just kind of threw it together, and it just not a lot of hiccups. It freaking sounds sick. So I mean, that kind of speaks a lot to your guys' bands. I guess I should say, like, the connection between you guys musically all being on the same page. So that's
I almost
sweet.
feel like we're better when we are all in the room together. Because even when
sure.
Mark has written stuff, and I'd come over and with the intentions of how I think the song is gonna sound in my head. By the time I leave the studio that day, it's different, which isn't necessarily a bad different. It's usually just different than I originally heard it. But then when all the input comes in and the juices get flowing, then we're like, I leave and I'm like, wow, this ended up turning out way better. And then the ideas and just letting it free flow and just being open to their creativity too. Then we're all, it usually has worked out for the best. There's songs that we have finished that they might be ready to shelf, and I'm like, no, some of these are like really good. I don't want to be done with them. So even our misses, I feel like we haven't missed yet, and we're sitting on, like, I don't know, we've probably done about 10 songs together already. We just haven't really released them all. And then some of them, might need more production.
Yeah,
some
Dom,
attention.
like you were saying, since we don't,
everything's in house.
Yes, since we're not pumping out material on the reg, we got to make sure that what we put out is really captivating. Like, I used to listen to a lot of Bones, underground rap dude, if you know what I'm talking about. But he would drop like a mixtape every month with like 20 songs. I'm like, dude, ain't like you have a lot of talent, but ain't no one can listen to all that. You're not gonna be like, oh, this is fun stuff. We'd like to have something where, like, oh, this is so sick.
We're going for like one a month.
Yeah, like, let's hear it again. And then, once we have a repertoire together and we can throw it all out there, then you can go, like, I heard that. That's super sick. They don't have 90 songs that I can't listen to all of it,
Yeah.
And, we're going to have enough songs to where you can go, okay, you heard this new 4th Street song, where you have like 3, 4, 5 songs that people can listen to, sort of. When it comes on, like, oh shit, it's not just another Drake song. It's just not another what's it called song. Like, it's pretty it's pretty yeah, it's pretty it's pretty exclusive, and I think we like to think of it that way. But we do have a lot of stuff that we're sitting on right now. And it's tough to sort of figure out which one we're going to put out, especially the first one. That was sort of tough because that was sort of our opening to the metal world. We want something to go, okay, this is our identity, this is what we're doing. We need a song that sort of encapsulates everything we got going on. But it's more of a challenge what we put out rather than making it, if that makes sense. So we can make shit no problem, like just pump out songs back to back to back, but then it's okay, what are we putting out? When are we putting out? That's the stuff that we try to be pretty meticulous with. But
Well, awesome, guys. Yeah, no, that's pretty sweet to hear. Like, I mean, when you have that depth of care for the product that you're putting out, because I mean, at the end of the day, like it can be a product. You can almost look at it as a business, but you guys are truly caring about your listeners' ears, what you're putting into them, and kind of curating your guys' sound to make sure that it's the best that it can possibly be, and that'll serve you guys well down the future so much. So
yeah, but real
seriously,
quick, like me and Haas are teachers. He's a firefighter, so I mean, we just have a really good time. We come over whenever he gets to come over. Well, he's got time. He's got kids. They're awesome. It's just whenever we get the time, we kind of meet together and we'll make a song every now and then. And if good things happen, it blows up, then great. We can decide our futures after that. But other than that, man, it's just always fun getting together. And we appreciate y'all having us on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll give it over to Bo now. I'm sure he has some technical questions. So,
Hey, what's up, you guys? I really, really like the song. Like, it's like a straightforward, old school kind of vibe with a very kind of polished, newer sound. Just straight up kind of old school metalcore. There's like a sneaky couple little like regurgitated vocal screams in there here and there. I like that. It went really cool, that last little segment of the song where you just totally switched it up to that synthy ambient thing with kind of sneaky little lead going here and there. And just a lot of, I mean, that's just a lot of fun, really fun, high energy.
That's what we go for.
Yeah. Is it just the three of you right now?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
I mean, we've got a couple, like I know a guy, I was with a guy last night actually that said he would play drums for us. Like we're playing live, but other than that, it's just us three. I mean, Jake's the input guy with drums and helped me write stuff, and Zach screams. And other than that, we're just writing all of it on the computer. Half of it is produced on Logic with
So as far as like guitar tuning goes, what are we doing for like tuning?
I think I got okay. So I have my guitar right here. It's a 7-string. I got it tuned down to like drop G, I believe.
Okay.
Solid. Music Man, and then our other song I'm using a 6-string is drop A, I believe. That was what Prescribed was in. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're super polished. What kind of like are we using like a plug-in or a modeler on that? I was kind of guessing like a plug-in
for the guitar.
Yeah, for guitars.
I use it. Correct me if I'm not answering your question, but I use AmpHub.
Okay.
It's like a $15 a month plugin. It's got a bunch of different amp settings that like big producers have made, and you can also tweak it and add different. So I use that, and I have one that is preset I like, and so anytime I open up a new track on Logic, I can open up the drums I want and have my preset guitar. So it's just
I mean, it's all about workflow with that kind of thing, man. Like, whatever lets you just like sit down and work without getting a lot of distractions, so everybody's got whatever works for them, and you can make yours sound pretty darn good. So there's nothing wrong with using any of that. Our running joke on this show is everybody uses the Gojira plugin by Neural DSP, which is they're gonna like this one. But so I started tracking more songs on Monday for my project, and our guy that we're working with just threw on the Gojira plugin while we're doing DIs. So I got 2 songs up right now on demos basically that are all with the Gojira. But again, it's whatever works best for you and whatever helps your workflow. Everything else just gets in the way and it's a distraction. So What are we doing bass wise? Are we tracking bass? Are you doing MIDI bass or anything? Or
Bass. Bass?
okay.
No, man, I'm legit using just plug-in bass from I think I have a plug-in. It's called Easy Mix, and I use standard bass. I don't think I used our other bass, but I think it's called Stinger Bass on Logic, and I use Easy Mix to make it sound more like distorted and kind of. I tweak the tone that way.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's what works for you, and it's working really well.
It's in our budget. I think I'm gonna buy one of those. I think either Nocturnal bass or something like that. Too lazy to record bass by myself.
Listen, I'll always wait for the major holidays for a sale. Okay, you wait for 4th of July, you wait for Black Friday, something. Get that thing on sale. So, all right, guys, I'm going to turn it over to Forge here.
Yeah, real quick, I can vouch for Nocturnal Bass. I do have that plug-in. It's pretty dope. You can't go wrong with it, especially for the tuning you guys are going for, and the style you guys are playing. Nocturnal Bass would be a really, really, really good choice. Which brings me to one of the points. I definitely say you guys have a ton of metalcore and deathcore vibes going in your track. It was pretty cool. And like Bo pointed out, you guys had those little change ups, which kept it interesting, and that's something we literally just talked about in the last episode. How bands kind of they write a really cool riff and then they kind of get stuck on it for however long the song is. They don't try and get creative and put other things in there. But you guys definitely ventured out beyond a single riff and made a really broad, cohesive track. So kudos to you guys for throwing in different elements like that and not losing that vibe throughout the track. But again, so bass is, you said plug-in, and the drums are also plug-in. So remind me, who's vocals and who's the other instruments again? I apologize.
The dude with the beard.
Yeah,
The beard guy.
Yeah.
So Zach does. Yeah, me. I do the vocals.
Okay.
He does vocals, and then I play guitar and produce most of the other stuff on
So
it.
he does pretty much everything else. So we grew up playing, like, I play the drums, he play guitar, and I frankly, oh shit, frankly, a lot of stuff that cut that off that he does with the drums, are sort of.
This guy's really good drummer, but there's some stuff I make on there, and it's kind of out of control. But so he's like, yeah, man, just do it on the computer.
Listen,
It'd be cleaner that way. And we don't have like I said, we record everything here, and I don't have anything to record drums with. So it's just it's $90 instead of buying $400 mics and then setting up the drum set in here and having to go back and tweak all the drums and make sure everything's timed up. It's just easier.
Everybody uses MIDI drums.
Yep.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
That's what like we said, our favorite band, Chelsea Grin. I know that guy does it, but it's just way easier, faster.
Yep. Yeah. And my point behind asking those questions again is because those extra plugins lent itself to keeping your track sounding really modern, because that's one of the key things if you want a modern sound in any subgenre of metal. If timing's on time and every instrument's hitting on time, that's whenever you feel that modern plug, I guess. And super important in like prog stuff too. Timing is key. But anyway, you guys nailed that track. It was pretty dope. So which is going to lead me to the next question I wanted to ask is why don't you tell us some of the plugs where you like people to come and listen to your track and maybe reach out to you.
Where's that?
I'm sorry. You're saying how do they get out to us?
Yeah, so what platforms do you like people to go to check out your tracks or maybe reach out to talk to you?
So we're kind of pushing the Spotify pretty hard right now. That seems to be just organically what's getting the plays anyways.
I don't know what's going on iTunes. I don't have iTunes, and I know I can see from our Spotify artists app, like we get quite a bit on there, but I have no clue if we're doing well on iTunes or not. But Spotify's okay.
And as far as socials go, Instagram up until maybe like 72 hours ago was the only platform that we were on. So if you wanted to get a hold of us, it would be through Force Feed on Instagram, and then I want to say Marcus just started a TikTok page. But
I made one at work. I always told myself I'm never making a fucking TikTok. I made one at work. Your buddy convinced me. You said, "Hey man, TikTok's king." I was like, "Okay."
It really is though.
But
Like,
people were comment there. There's one comment on Lab Rat. It was someone from South Carolina. Like, "Oh, let me know when you tour. So when you blow up, I'll be there." Blah blah blah. One guy wants the merch. He commented on another song. He wants this or the Force Feed logo merch.
Yeah.
We'll send you a sticker, dude.
Yeah, and so that leads me to the next question. Did you guys say where you guys are based out of?
Lakeland, Florida. It's like right in between Tampa and Orlando, a little bit closer to Tampa.
Yeah. So just to let everyone know, I asked these certain questions because obviously we get listeners in different states and whatnot, but we do have bands that are regular listeners to the show that have been on it, and Bo can attest to this, and I don't know if Dom can or not, but a lot of bands, after linking up on the show, doing an episode together, they end up playing gigs outside later, because we try to use this as a networking tool. So I like to get the bands to say where they're from and how people can reach them in case there's another band listening that's in your area that may want to gig with you guys. So that's the idea behind that. And that leads me into another point that I think Dom had mentioned about how the whole point behind the show was to help some of the smaller bands get a few more listens, and it's something I haven't talked about in a while. But the reason this show started was because I was one of those guys that would spend hours on YouTube watching, the review reaction videos. And, I have my favorite YouTubers that I like to watch. And it's cool. You get to hear all the big bands. You get to hear some of the new stuff that's coming out. And then it clicked one day. I was like, well, shit, what about all the other bands like the one I'm in and that don't get these huge platforms, and no one ever listens to them. No one gives them any feedback. So I was like, you know what, screw it. Let me just see if I can get some people to come on and we listen to some tracks. At worst case scenario, I'll just hang out with a few people and it'll be fun. And
you don't have to pay to play.
Yeah, exactly. But that's how the show started. Believe it or not, episode 1, nobody showed up. Not even the bands that I played showed up. So it was literally, the first episode was literally me sitting in a room by myself, talking to myself. I don't think anyone watched episode 1. And then I was like, you know what, let me give it one more shot. I'm posting, all over Facebook and everything like that. Hey, bands, if you want to come on the show, I'll listen to it. We'll talk about it. And in episode 2, believe it or not, Bo and Dom were on that episode. I had 6 bands. They all showed up. And then the sky's the limit from there. We've been very fortunate to get listeners and people that keep coming back to listen. So that's what spurred it on. And we just keep doing it because it's a great way to network. I made a ton of friends. Dom, Bo also made a ton of friends, and they've been able to carry that over into their music careers too, making really great connections. And we get to see a lot of cool bands go from not having so much going on to having a ton going on. We talked about it last week as well. We had a band that was on the show, and the next thing you know, they're touring with August Burns Red. And like I said, coming into the show, we had our boy Ben. He's doing his thing, and now he's a PRS guitarist artist. It's been really cool to just be a part of it. And it's just a Wednesday night hobby. I'm sitting here drinking a margarita and hanging out with some random dudes listening to their tracks. So it's a time kill for me, but it's doing so much for everyone that's involved. So we're gonna keep it going for as long as we can. But again, for those of you just tuning in, this is episode 2 of season 3. I got As We Rise, and we're currently talking with Force Feed, and I do have Zach, Marcus, and Jake here with us. Again, we're live on Twitch and YouTube and Riverside. If you happen to want to call in, you do need to come into the Riverside app, and you can call in and ask questions direct to these bands. And, one more thing, these guys said they want you to go to Spotify to listen to their track. That's where they want you to go. I'm also going to tell you guys that their song is also going to be on the Spotify Banger Wednesday Spotify playlist this evening, along with the track from As We Rise. And you do a ton of good for these bands by just going find that playlist and listening to them and all the other bands on there. That's why we created it. It's been a great way to help people find new music. So please take the time to go find it. But with that said, I'm going to take one more second or a minute and let you guys plug anything else we may have forgotten to let you plug. So if you got anything you want to say to the people listening, now's the time. Yeah, where is Zach? He dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Zach, you got it, dude.
Either way, I don't know, man.
All right. We appreciate you letting us come on. That's cool. It's first time. I mean, like I said, we're just kind of doing this as kind of like a glorified hobby that we don't take it too serious, but we want to make. I try to make music that I know I would listen to. Like, you want to hear something, go, oh man, I want to listen to that song again after you play it once, So that's why I have all those weird breaks in the song. It's not like monotonous the whole way through. And he's got a good ear for that too. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a hobby of ours. We like making music. We've been doing this for years.
Shout out Zach. Shout out Chelsea Grin.
Girls, come here.
Shout out our girlfriends who have been very supportive of this process.
They're here. While say hi.
Kenna, Julia, they're great people, and they've definitely supported.
We love listening to us.
Yeah,
they it's really fun.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out, man. Family and friends, man. That's, believe it or not, that brings so much energy into a band success, really. I mean, it was one thing to be out there doing it for yourself and going through the grind by yourself, but whenever you're going through that grind and you got family and friends supporting you, it definitely makes the grind a hell of a lot easier, because it is no doubt a grind. We say we do it for fun, but that shit's a grind.
Yep. Hoss, you got anything else? He was asking. We lost you for a second.
Yeah, my phone was acting up, said it overheated or something, so I don't know what's on.
That's because this show's fire, bro. Yeah.
It's just fire coming through.
Yeah.
I don't know what I missed, but you did mention like some cool stories about some bands coming on here and opportunities that people had in collaborating. With that being said, we are looking for a drummer in the Central Florida area, preferably. And hopefully you're a dude, because some of the parts are pretty tough, but it like you might have heard, it's high energy. We would like to at some point take it on the road, and just hit up some real fun shows. Nothing but energy and just good times with a good group if anybody's interested. And again, just giving the platform for others to listen is great. Lakeland, Florida is a kind of a dying space for metal music. So I don't know who's listening to our stuff. Apparently they are, but it's not in our town. So like nobody has any idea that we're even like doing this outside of our
we have a lot of Australian listens. We have a lot of people in Orlando.
Yeah. So outside of like our small circle of friends of wives and girlfriends and firefighter and teacher buddies, I don't know who's listening. I know they're out there, so thank you for at least promoting it, putting it out there for at least a bigger, wider audience.
Hell yeah. And again, you guys are going to be on the Banger Wednesday Spotify playlist. Hopefully that gives you guys a few more listens. And, I do want to touch on something for all those that may be new to the show. He mentioned Australia and stuff like that, and that was one of the really cool things about the show, because when we started, like I told you, it started off with me in a room by myself talking to myself. And then next thing you know, we have had bands from France.
That's cool.
Australia. We had Norway and a bunch of European places. So it's really cool. So I know we do have some international listeners that stop by the Spotify playlist. So hopefully you guys can pick up a few more along the way. But again, I want to thank these guys, Zach, Marcus, and Jake from Force Feed, for joining us tonight, bringing a banging ass track and hanging out with us. Again, they're probably going to stick around till the end of the show as we move on to the next band. But if you have any last minute questions, be sure to get them in on the Twitch and YouTube chats or the Riverside chat. And you still have time if you want to switch over to Riverside and call in and actually have your voice come into our earwaves or ears through your sound waves, I should say. So there's still time to do that. Bo did post that link on the chat for all those other platforms, so just click it, come over to Riverside, and click call in. And again, thank you guys. And the next segment we're going to go to is Bo's little moment in the spotlight. He's going to do some news stories that's going on in the world of metal. So, Bo, if you're ready, why don't you educate us?
All right, I didn't have a lot this week that I was really excited to talk about. That we had a lot more last week. That was a lot of fun. So I don't have to ramble off quite as fast. First one, they just dropped another single. All That Remains has been dropping new tracks that are very, very old school. All that Call of Ideas, All Remains. With Jason Richardson on guitar now though, and those it's very, very throwback and phenomenal to that kind of music if that's your thing.
But it hits hard though, bro. It hits hard.
So
I checked it out. It was good.
Yeah. One of the big things that came up in the last week, Mick Thompson just released his own signature Fishman pickups. As far as a gear thing goes, I'm not usually huge into Fishmans, but that's something worth checking out from everything I've heard so far. It's supposed to be really, really good. You talked about our buddy from Australia. Is it Von Sprunger? Von
Spriggan.
Springen. That dude puts out new music, I swear to God, every week. If he's always on my just released on Spotify, and he pumps out new stuff constantly. It's wild. That guy's awesome. The biggest thing is just we haven't talked about Furnace Fest. So Furnace Fest, if you don't know, is probably got to be the biggest thing that's going to happen this year as far as the style of music we like. And this is a lot of old school, solid state tooth and nail bands, primarily just a lot of old music. The lineup for this has just gotten absolutely ridiculous. And this is going to be the final year that they're doing it. So it's just going hard. This lineup is, we got 3 days. It would take me my whole 4 or 5 minute segment to list all the bands on here, but you got August Burns Red, Devil Wear Prada, Bane, From a Second Story Window, Haste the Day, He Is Legend, O Sleeper, Unearth, Coheed and Cambria, Poison the Well, Seosin, Stretch Armstrong, Fall of Troy, Five Iron Frenzy. That's a fun one. Misery Signals. This is Misery Signals last tour that they're going to do this year, sadly. We got Snapcase, old school. You got Under Oath, Blindside, Norma Jean, Comeback Kid, 18 Visions, Juliana Theory, POD, The Showdown. Just wild lineup.
Yeah. I feel like you named almost every song I had on my MySpace. To be honest with you,
that was just that was probably a quarter of the bands. It's just that thing's just going to be just insane. So this is the last year they're doing it. My singer's going, a couple other people are going. Yeah, that's the one to watch. If you didn't see any clips from stuff from last year, you got to go on YouTube and see some of the stuff from last year. It's just wild, and they do such a good job with the videography for the whole thing. They hire a lot of people to come and make sure everything's documented, so you can go on YouTube and just watch everybody's sets. But if you haven't checked it out, you need to get on YouTube and check that stuff out. It's amazing. So that's all I got for now.
So speaking of festivals, if I remember reading right, I think Elijah's playing at a festival. What festival is that coming up, man?
That's in end of August. We get to play at Pierre's in Fort Wayne, which is pretty big. I mean, they have everybody come through there. We just saw Dayseeker and a couple other bands last month play through Silent Planet and a couple other things. That's gonna be a fun one. But we got a little ways before that. So
hell yeah, Dayseeker's on my bucket list too. I haven't caught them yet. I don't know how I haven't.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, they're right up there with seeing Thrice for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just killer.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, that is our co-host Bo, guitarist from Elijah, and that is the new segment I have affectionately not named yet, so we just call it News with Bo for now. How about that? And again, for those of you that may be tuning in late, we are live on YouTube, Twitch, and Riverside. Hop onto the Riverside link if you want to call in, and because we have our next band As We Rise coming up, and I have Hannah and Eric here with us. So guys, give us a little bit about the band and this track we're about to check out.
Well, this is kind of our oddball track, actually. It was one of the first songs that we wrote together. And it's got influences from melodic death metal all the way on the other side to post-hardcore. So it's kind of all over the board. Everything we're writing currently is way heavier, like way heavier. So it's kind of funny to put this out there, especially since it's something that we did. We've been a band around 3 years, three and some change. We've played almost 50 shows. It's kind of nuts to get to that spot. I build my own custom cabinets. I see your Rev generator down there, Bo. I think I saw that and I was like, fuck yeah, like stoked about that. I'm wearing my Peppers Petals Dirty Tree here shirt here. I'm a big gearhead. I originally started this band with another guitarist. We are a one guitar band, which is really interesting. It's posed a lot of challenges. And then we just kept auditioning singer after singer. And then one day, this one looks at me and goes, some of those singers are just not the right fit for what you were trying to do. And she's like, if you have patience with me, like, I'll learn how to scream. I'll, do whatever. And insert As We Rise into the metal segment. And she comes from a strong, like, she's like all kinds of different stuff.
I started bluesy, just growing up singing in the house with my parents, and then learning. Well, I always loved heavy music, but I never thought I'd be singing heavy music. So it all kind of worked out really well. Head Under Water, this song was really about, like, you felt like you're drowning at one point or another in your life, and this song's really about that. I hated the song. When we first
That's a great way to intro a song. I hated this song, but let's play that fucking track.
I hated it at first, and I could not. I don't think it wasn't hate for the song, but it was frustration that I could not figure out lyrics for the death of me. And like other songs, lyrics came more easily, and this one I just could not figure out for the life of me. So I sat down one day and I was like, don't talk to me. You go do something else. And I put on my headphones and I just was like, I'm getting this done because I'm sick of this song. And then I knocked it out and I was like, crap, I fucking love this song now. This song is great.
It was also a song that we used to just jam on initially, and I never envisioned this song would end up being an As We Rise song, and it just sort of happened. And we created this band during COVID, and I was just depressed as fuck. Like I wasn't really enjoying anything. I was buying way too much gear. I'm paying off credit cards currently that I bought gear with during fucking COVID. So, but I mean, like, all the stuff started piling up around the house. I was like, oh, I should start writing music with this. And really just went kind of ham in different directions. And we started doing all kinds of different music, like even really diving into some melodic death metal stuff. And this song just kind of had this like punky vibe and this just different feel. And I feel like Hannah nailed it, just totally blew it out of the park with just the lyrics for the song. Like everybody's felt like waves were crushing them of anxiety. So,
and we're a band, like, we try and focus on mental health and bringing people together and talking about topics that like are not talked about a lot or are swept under the rug. We want to be fun too and have fun songs as well, but also things that have really impacted people. And we've heard some amazing things back from fans of how much it's impacted them. And that's what music's all about, is finding things that hit hard and make you feel connected to everybody around you. So,
well, and I think we wanted to do it in a non, like, you know, I've seen people do like positive things in a way that just is kind of fucking cheesy, and we wanted to do it about like real life situations and really like almost like I love that Ice Nine Kills wanted to just do their own thing and do it the way that they think comes together the best, and it's thematic in their own way. I don't feel like we're a theme band by any means, but I think it's cool to actually have like a different element of like, hey, here's the shit we survived in life. And
right.
Here's how we're dealing with it, and maybe we're not okay. So that's actually our first EP was I always fuck this up. It's We Are Not Okay, right? God damn it. Oh, sorry.
Y'all good.
No.
Yeah, and you know, just to I want to talk about two real quick things before we go into track, but to the point how Hannah said that at first she didn't like the song and whatnot. You know, a wise man did once say, "It be like that sometimes." And back to that grind we were talking about earlier. It's just like you keep beating your head against the wall because you want it to be a certain way, and you just keep beating and sometimes you get there and sometimes you don't. Sounds like you got there, but yeah, it just reminded me of the grind we were just talking about. And also want to touch on real quick, you're talking about this blues background, and that's one of the coolest things about some of the music we get in the metal industry, because some of the most interesting bands, the individual artists within those bands have the most wild, unexpected backgrounds, you know, and you know, like one that comes to mind, talking about blues, Mark Morton from Lamb of God, heavy blues. And then the other big beast right now, which people like to debate on whether we should call him metal or not, Sleep Token. That their drummer, he will tell you gospel. That's his claim to fame. Gospel style drumming is what got him to where he is. So it's just weird. Well, not weird, but it's interesting to do some of these deep dives into some of the individual artists behind some of these songs and hearing where they come from, and it does explain how they made what they made. So kudos to you for making that blues to metal jump. And you know what? We're all about to check it out right now and see if we can pick out any little influences in there. So if everyone's ready, we're about to check out this track. They sent me over a YouTube video. Hopefully this goes a little bit more seamless than the Spotify issue we've been having. So here we go, guys. This is As We Rise. This is Head Underwater. Here we go.
Your purpose is to
Hell yeah. And we always let it go all the way down to 0 when we're listening to anything. Just in case there's any surprises. No surprises. Cool. All right. So, again, for those of you that may just be tuning in, we just listened to As We Rise. And I got Hannah and Eric here with us. And Dom, I'm coming to you real quick. But you know what? I was going to steal some thunder, but yeah, I'm going to steal a little bit. But Bo, I know one of your questions, and I think I already have the answer. If you ask it, I'm gonna chime in because I want to guess. But anyway, keep that in your notes, Bo. Dom, go ahead, take it away. I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah, awesome song, guys. And so I guess walk me through a little bit again. So you never sang metal up until this point when you guys started this song. This was your first time, like this band is your first experience from starting in COVID as singing metal.
Yeah, I think I probably did it in my car here and there and sucked before this. But then after I was like, okay, I'm gonna actually learn myself and take the time to practice and do what I need to actually do it correct so I don't fuck up my voice and I can continue to scream.
There you go. So I walk me through the process of kind of how you learned the screaming and kind of the general feeling for any viewers that may be watching right now. Like, what was your process for learning?
Interesting, yeah. Definitely listening to a lot of bands that had screaming involved, kind of figuring out how I could even do that. A lot of trial and error of actually being in the room with the guys at the time and just being like, this might suck, this might sound great, and sometimes it really did suck. But it took a lot of time to figure out what felt right, and then just watching a lot of videos on the correct techniques, and yeah, just a lot of practice, a lot of shows.
I'm going to chime in real quick too. When we started, we had 4 songs. And believe it or not, I booked one of our first shows. It was our headline. I booked a headliner show. I don't know how the fuck I did this, but I booked a headliner show for us before we even had a band. So it was me and this other guitar dude, and we were searching for a drummer, couldn't find anybody, and then finally found some dude that said he would just do it. And I was like, cool, well, Hannah, if you're really going to join this, we need to get more than 4 songs. And we were doing 2 original songs, and then we actually added a 3rd song, which was we were covering a Bullet for My Valentine song, just to we felt like it fit her range well, which I really liked that you guys, I was actually checking out that you guys are playing 7-string and 6-string. We're a 7-string and 6-string band as well. So that's definitely stuff we're way into. And what I figured out is drop C and 6-string really fits her voice really well, which is what that last song was. Even though that's a lot less heavy than some of the other songs we're playing in that range. But she originally learned that Bullet cover, and then right after that, she was like, hey, I'm down to try something heavier. So we started covering Through Struggle by As I Lay Dying.
That definitely helped me learn.
Yeah, she killed it too.
Yeah, awesome. No, that's pretty sweet. For any of viewers watching, Melissa Cross, or you can even learn some vocal mixing techniques and stuff like that from her academy. But there's a lot of really good resources out there, even on YouTube videos, to help nail screaming. So like what she said, you can mess up your voice. It's
easily done.
Even if you're belting, we had the previous band, he's a belter, but you can hear in his voice, there's still, with Haas's voice, there's a lot of technique in there that's going in that from, sounds like years of practice, and understanding his own voice and range. But yeah, don't mess up your voices. But I guess walk me through some more of you kind of touched into the challenges, just with finding members and things like that. And now obviously right here we have 2 solidified members, but how has it been with shows? You guys said you played 50 shows. Was that correct?
It's definitely been a lot of different band members, and I think everybody's really contributed to the band and us growing in a positive way. I think we're finally getting band members that I think are going to stick around for a really long time and care a lot for this project. So, and we feel like family. That was one of the biggest things. We're like, want it to feel like family and want it to be fun and not something that like is an obligation or something someone has to fight us tooth and nail to do, which I don't know why sometimes that happens, but it's different personalities and it's a lot working in a group with people and finding something that really does mesh well. So yeah, I think we're in a good spot now. And
yeah, and one of the people in this band is also like I played in a previous band that was signed on an indie label, and COVID happened, and then record labels die, and so I was in the point. I had actually, like you guys mentioned, All That Remains earlier, and I was at the point that I was like, cool, my band had actually booked a Fort Collins show. We're in northern Colorado, and we got to play with All That Remains. And this is like right during their end of their heyday, right before their guitarist died, actually. And in my mind, I was like, if I don't do something with this, I'm stupid. I'm stupid. And so we started looking for members, and some of them, they fell out because they either had stuff going on or couldn't keep gear or like and those things happen. But we now have a really solid group. In fact, even the bass player from my last band, that he had been through all those crazy gigs where we built up and played some of those smaller shows and really built a name for ourselves and started like begging to go to Denver and play these bigger shows in these bigger theaters, and it eventually happened. And then this band, I was like, cool, we can hopefully leapfrog some of this stuff because I at least know a little bit about what I'm doing. And, I'm like the guitarist from their band too. Like I do all our sound production, and all that was recorded in house. We didn't spend a dime on any of that. But I'm very particular. I like reamping things, and I spend way too much time doing that shit. But it's amazing to take it from where it was at initially, and I'm still using that damn Gojira plugin to track everything initially, because it sounds fucking great. And that or some of the Bogren stuff, but and you get on there and you use that. I still gotta try the Trivium plugin. That's my next thing to do, but I'm a gear nut. But getting to that point and creating some demos, and now that we've been a band long enough, when we have a bassist that wants to learn things and create things with us, and we have a killer drummer that learns parts faster than I could ever even imagine learning on drums. So and then he contributes his own stuff, so it's really cool to finally have that evolution. And now we're creating some shit that's going to be really fun to play, and we have fun gigs coming up too, so it's awesome.
I think other hard parts that the band has had to go through is like having a female vocalist and screamer in the metal scene. Because there's some bigger bands out there that are finally hitting and growing, which is great to see. But I have not been taken seriously at a lot of shows, and it's kind of crazy to see in person. But it's amazing to be like in the scene and being able to be like, hey, we can do this too.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, I think that's a good transition, especially after going on about the gear, because Bo's our gear guy. I'm sure he has some good questions.
Go ahead, Bo, all you.
Yeah, it's kind of, before I touch on my stuff, like you were saying, the gatekeeping in like the metal community is just, it's so bad. I mean, it's so bad.
It's unfortunate. Yeah.
I've noticed a lot, like in my scene, like in the Indianapolis area, where people just want to go see heavy shows, and like I'll play, like my band's more metalcore, but we'll play with like hardcore kids, and we'll play with deathcore and death metal, like in blackened death metal shows and stuff like that, where just like everybody's just there to see a heavy show, and they don't care, who it is playing or whatever. They just go for the music. Yeah, and
I love that.
That's why I got out of it a long time ago, when I kind of stopped playing like 18 years ago, back in my heyday back then, was just because that I just got tired of the gatekeeping. Like you couldn't play, a metalcore band couldn't go play with a hardcore band. Like everybody would just walk out while they were playing, and you'd have like 5 people that hang out while you play, and then they come right back in for the next band because it's not a metalcore band anymore. It was just terrible.
Yeah.
But I'll get away from that anyways. So gear. I'm gonna leave some questions out for Forge here, but so we're talking gear and stuff. What kind of amps do you like to use?
So, years ago when I eventually was not playing with another guitar player, I started messing around with some stereo setups. And actually, I did it in the video. I'm a big John 5 fan, so I was actually running a Stealth 5153 on one side through one of my custom cabs, and then I used to run a Vader cab on the other side, which is awesome. But I built a cab that sounds, in my opinion, a little bit better than that. So I have two different speaker blends on either side of the stage. One side I'm running an ancient V30 out of an old Mesa and a DV77 Mick Thompson. Sounds incredible. Yeah, that blend is
that's what's in my orange.
Fire. And so I love that blend. And then I used to run, even before the Vader, I was running an orange on the other side. And then one day I was like, how cool would it be if we end up playing like some little itty bitty shit punk venue that exists in Northern Colorado, that we occasionally get invited to go and hang out and do these like incredible underground parties and fun, crazy things. I want to play a full stack of my own cabs. That was originally the idea behind that, but I reamp all of our stuff through my own cabs. I originally record it with all the plugins that I have at my disposal, and then finally, when I have bass and drums pretty much done and locked in and they sound really great, I reamp all that shit after I play it with an Evertune. And I have a 6-string Solar that I'm using with for that song. I actually didn't end up using most of those tracks because I had a wiring issue. Solar's in there, freaking QC. But
I ripped the guts out of mine and put London
oh my god
electronics in.
Well, I finally put.
I didn't care.
Yeah, you have to though. Those suck.
So honestly, same thing with Ibanez. I love my one Ibanez that I have, but I gutted everything.
Oh yeah,
it was garbage. The electronics were garbage.
Well, I'm an old school Ibanez fan, so like I always get all the stuff from like the 90s and maybe early 2000s stuff. I have
the new stuff is terrible.
I have a ton
the internals are terrible.
But
old school Ibanez is where it's at.
Oh so. Yeah, it just kills. I mean, especially guitars under $1,000, like they will outplay all of the other ones. But that Solar, like I was having a wiring issue, so I did end up tracking that whole thing with that ancient RG that I have with the original pickups in it, and it just sounds great. It's got duct tape on the back. I paid $100. It was like $160 for that guitar.
Nice.
Like I was like 15 years old, and it still just plays like butter. So I use that for a lot of shows, but it's got a crack in it, so I need to retire it at some point. But yeah, I mean,
just go get it fixed. Don't retire.
That's exactly what I will do.
Luthers will fix that stuff like you wouldn't believe.
Oh yeah, but I'm thinking like retiring from like heavy show stuff, because we've in
Fair
3 years
enough.
almost 50 shows in the Four Corner states, Colorado, Wyoming, mainly Colorado and Wyoming. But we're offered a tour for this fall. And I'm not going to run stereo for something like that, especially if you're a low totem on the pole.
Yeah.
That's how I've been running
like
stuff.
I like to be able to get on and off the stage as fast as humanly possible.
Exactly.
So.
Quad Cortex. That's my word.
No. We can keep a real amp. We can keep a real amp.
Yeah, I'm all about the real amp. I love that Matt Heffy at a Trivium was like, I'm going to go back to real amps because I can feel the latency.
It's hard to explain. Like we just played a show on Friday, and I like that's my practice or small gig rig basically. But I just got that's the G50 rev that just came out, so I swapped it out to 606 tubes, and it's just mean as hell.
Oh, I bet.
But I had my crank 4x12s because I like those because you can get them for like $200 or $300 and put new speakers in them.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a crank 4x12 with DB77s in it.
Oh,
and I literally had that thing like 5 feet behind me, and like all I heard the whole show was that little 50-watt rev and that 4x12 just punching me in the back, and it was more fun than you can explain.
Sure.
Just having that behind you the whole time and knowing that at least your sound is just wild. But that's a lot of fun as far as the music goes. So I don't know what really like to compare it to. It's kind of a cool song. I like musically like maybe kind of 18 Visions ish.
Okay.
I think if that kind of maybe I don't know, kind of more that style ish. Really neat key changes too when you go into like the choruses and stuff. Like I kind of did not expect the kind of weird keys that you were switching over to. Really fun. Do you do like some single coil stuff in there with your guitars, or are you just kind of just going with it?
I ended up doing, oh man, that whole song was something that was like, God, I was just listening to all kinds of shit at that point. I was listening to like Refused all the way to like,
Okay.
like I had this whole like, went back to like, you know, some of the bands that you guys were talking about earlier. And then I even went as far as like getting back into Deftones, and then went to like Finch out of that. And then I went back to like old school Yellow Card and Taking Back Sunday all of a sudden. And then I went straight into Suicide Silence after that.
Okay.
So like, you know, it was just one of those songs that I think I had all these weird influences at the time. She was humming these vocal melodies and I was like, oh, okay, cool. This just kind of fits. And I know she hated it initially, but I was like, cool, go with that. Like, it sounds cool. And, you know, we really rushed the production on this song. So I'm really excited the next time. We had actually just had a drummer change. So it was one of those things that I was like, cool. Oh, great. I have 3 days to do a mix on this. Wonderful. And we made it work, but it was not ideal. And then she actually got shortcut on the amount of time that we got to do vocals just to get it out the door. And that's hard. You know, that's super hard. We're trying to figure out a better flow with like, okay, if we really want to release music at this date, how early? She's really organized. So she's like, how early do we actually need to do this? And like our next couple songs, we've even thrown around like possibly even doing a cover and getting the rights to it and actually doing something fun like an As I Lay Dying cover or something like that.
Just use DistroKid. Use DistroKid to handle all that stuff.
Right.
I forget what it is. There's like a certain amount. I think you got to do like 3 or 4 weeks to have it like set up on Spotify or something like that for it to like really take advantage of like the algorithms and stuff like that. To get on like this, you know, have a better chance of getting on playlists and stuff like that. There's again, that's one of those like YouTube tutorials. There's all kinds of ways you can kind of like take advantage of that and really kind of find ways to take advantage of it. But it's you gotta like give yourself, you know, like set it up to drop through your Spotify like 3-4 weeks in advance to really take advantage of that. And that's the hard part, I know, because all you want to do is just release it. Like I'm one of those people, I'm like, I don't care about the algorithm part of it. I made the thing, I recorded the thing, I love it, I want people to hear it. That's, you know, but there's benefits to it as far as like, hey, if I just calm down a little bit, more people will get to hear it, you know? So you look that up, do some digging on that, and it's easy. But covers and stuff, just use DistroKid.
Right.
He's
like they can take care of the licensing part of it for you, and you don't have to deal with anything.
He's talking about covers a lot, but I think we're far more excited about our other music we're writing.
We have a couple new songs.
Well, so covers though,
they're great. They'll definitely help.
It's again, it's another way to get people to come to you and listen to your music.
Yep.
So like if you get a cover and it's doing decently online, that's how more and more people that might not have listened to you will find you.
Yeah.
So there's benefits to it. I don't have any yet, but we talk about it all the time, and I'm always the one that's more against it. But it's the same thing. There are benefits to it, so consider that.
You're right.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like what is Our Last Night is a really good example of that. I mean, they're pretty much a cover band, but a lot of their big songs have blown up just because they did Nickelodeon songs and a whole bunch of other things, rewritten metal stuff. But it can make a huge impact.
Yeah. But you talk about, you know, that final that ultimate goal, which is not even I don't care about making a dime off of streams, but like knowing that like I've got songs like that are you know about to hit like 4,000 plays and stuff like that in less than a year, like just like knowing that those people are listening to the stuff that I made is just a cool, like just an amazing feeling. So sometimes it's worth it to just if you got a song you're really excited about, it's worth it to sit on it a little bit and work with some people and do some digging and figure out how to effectively release it so that you actually get some exposure on it.
Right. Yeah, that was something
It's
even
the side that we hate doing. It's the business. I hate being the business side of stuff sometimes, but you got to do it every now and then.
right. Even doing that music video was something that we had put off for so long, and that was the first time we had ever done anything like that. So we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into, and it turned out a lot cooler than we thought it would.
The music video is fun. The thing that plays for it on the Spotify, like the little thing that plays in the background for it, because I listened to it on my phone while it was playing, so I could hear the little stuff going on. But yeah, like even that was really well done, and stuff like that too. Like that little stuff is just something that people can look at, and if they think that looks cool and it's got a cool vibe and stuff like that, then that's somebody that might listen to your song all the way through and then find out they like it, versus somebody that might have just like skipped over it after a couple seconds. But like you get the cool flashy video. It's one of those things that I think that sometimes that's really worth it, and really kind of like get a little bit more out there for people. So draw them in.
Absolutely.
But I like it. It's a lot of fun. I went ahead and found you guys on Instagram and everything like that, so I'm following you guys on all that
Thank
stuff.
you.
So
We appreciate it.
I'm going to turn it over to Forge. I'm done talking.
Hell yeah. And so,
But great to meet you guys.
Bo and Dom, they were like one of the best moves I made with this show, inviting these guys to come on, because they made my life so easy. They literally hit on everything I want to talk about. So whenever I come in at the end, I can just like make some little comments and, maybe talk about some educational points. These guys are sharp for sure. And one thing I do want to point out is you were talking about the gear, you were talking about your cabs, and that was the little note I wanted to take. And so I want to just dig a tad bit deeper on this track for those that may be new to it or doing DIY at home stuff. For your guitars, you were DI'd, or were you miking your cabs?
So for the guitars, I'm tracking everything. I'll track the left side, get it as perfect as I want it to with plugins. And then I'll track a right side, and then I track the thickener. Sometimes I'll even track two thickeners, depending on the song. This song wasn't as metally as some of the other stuff that we're doing, some of the more chuggy stuff that we're doing, or like we have some kind of crazy breakdowns and some upcoming stuff that she just screams over, which is fucking awesome. And that stuff will always, need to be really exact and quad tracked. I like quad tracking that stuff. And I listen to all these guys, Riffs, Beards and Gear, Fluff, and all those dudes as far as tracking all this stuff. That's really how it helped me do that. And then I use once I'm done and satisfied with how everything sounds with plugins, I take the plugins off and I reamp every single track through whatever speaker or whatever cabinet. And sometimes I'll even dual mic that stuff. So I'll get a room mic, so I get the ambient stuff, and then I'm putting the mic wherever I want it to be, whether I'm using the classic SM57, or oftentimes I'll use a 906 like you've got there. And that stuff, it sounds great, especially if you have a good room condenser mic. And then I just blend all that stuff together. I did not do as much of that on this last track. However, I did decide I was going to reamp with 3 different amps on this last one. I have an old school rectifier that I really think just sounds mean as hell. And I actually pulled that a little bit out of the mix. I used that EVH that I had with a specific boost on it, so it just doesn't sound as like flat. It gives a little more warmth to it because I felt like this track needed it. And then I used a third amp. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, I used that JCM 900 that was in the video. I'm a big John 5 fan, and he gets some of the gnarliest tones out of some of that stuff. And the blend of those sounded awesome to me. So I was pretty happy with it. Bass, we use some of the neural stuff to track it at first, and then we switch it out for a bunch of dark glass stuff. So I'll pump a line out of the computer after that and make sure that I track everything coming out of whatever we want it to come out of. We'll even blend it with a cab sim if we want. Just depends on kind of where we're going. Drums are almost always, if we can, do at least live cymbals. It's not always something that we can do, but it just sounds really natural that way. Most of professional records have most of the drums pulled out. There's maybe like a little 10% of the live drums, and most of that stuff is sample replaced anyway. So, you know, I have some crazy libraries. I actually use some of the libraries that were actually personal from the Asking Alexandria crew. I just know some folks that know some folks, and I got some amazing drum libraries that I can blend with live cymbals and stuff that sound really, really good. But yeah, I'm really excited for the next phase of when we do this stuff, because now we have such a good crew that we can really focus more time on getting the mix to sound perfectly the way we want it to, get her vocals to sound really, you know, just more polished. From a production standpoint, I don't think anybody's performance was lacking on the track that you guys even just heard. It's just from the squeezing it out standpoint, I definitely want to spend a little more time doing some of that stuff.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. And real quick, for anyone joining in, we're starting to reach the end of the show here, and we got As We Rise. I got Hannah and Eric here talking with us. We just listened to their track, and now this is the point where I like to ask, you know, where do you primarily want people to go to check you guys out? Where can they find you, and where can they reach out to you at?
I got the first one. We are playing our next show in Victor, Colorado, above 10,000 feet. We actually went up to the mountains this last weekend just to see if we're going to die doing this.
Yeah.
We're going to be short of air, but we're playing on June 29th there for a festival. Some of those people, I guess, have never eaten food from a real restaurant. They only have like the gas station that's way down at the bottom of the mountain. So they've never seen live music or even know what that is. So
they're doing a whole bunch of different genres of music, so then they can kind of get a taste of it all, which will be really cool.
So I wonder how fun that's going to be. It's going to be crazy. And we're staying at actually, and I know the sound production is going to be awesome, because the guy used to run AEG Live in Denver and Western United States. So he called us and he's like, the stage is going to be like this. And I was like, cool, sounds awesome. So we're really excited for that. And then after that, we're actually playing with a band. If you've never heard of them, they're like punk, hardcore, some metal influences. They're weird and awesome. They're called They're called In the Whale, and they're from Greeley, Colorado. They're awesome. And they've just been on tour all over Europe. They were recently signed. Hometown love for those guys. They're incredible. They're a two-piece, guitar, vocal, and drums, and he splits a signal and plays bass and guitar live. It's incredible. And so we're playing with them, and we're actually playing with 10 Years at the Oriental Theater in Denver on July 18th. And then there's an up-and-coming rapper that apparently used to be a huge hardcore fan. He's a huge Hatebreed fan, and so he's mixing like hardcore metal, and then he has a band that almost sounds like Ginger's band. Like, they're incredible. And so he's going out on tour, and they asked us to play that show with them late August. So we're doing that as our final Northern Colorado show.
Those are, come and see us in person, and then online you can find us Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, a lot of the different ones. And YouTube. We have a link tree. Check us out on Spotify, and I'm sure we're on most of the
Tidal, Deezer.
Oh yeah,
Apple, iTunes, whatever floats your boat, we're on.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but what was that two-piece again that you guys are playing with?
In the Whale.
Okay.
They're great.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're a riot.
Yeah, so Colorado. So man, I know Bo and Dom. Hey, if you guys were a couple, you'd be Bomb, by the way. So Bo and Dom. I mean, how many bands have we had on here from Colorado? I mean, I really need to make a trip out there and see what the hell's going on. Let's see. Just off the top of my head, we had Leveler, who was one of the bands we played on the intro. We had Fragile City. We had World Shaper and Lunarscape, and we had Become the Voids out in that area too. I don't think they're Colorado, but I think they're a neighbor. Become the Void. I think that maybe Utah, maybe. I don't know, but they're in the Colorado area. But man, I don't know what's going on in that scene out there, but it's been outrageous.
Decent metal scene in Colorado. And I think like we grew up in Fort Collins, Colorado, and it was not it's been like kind of an up and down wave. So depending on what venues are alive at the time and what's going on and what's being supported, most of the time metal's being supported decently, and we're getting some good underground shows and some good like shout out to Blast and Scrap. They're really awesome. They support bands from all over the place. It's a non-profit, goes to really good cause, and they're setting up tons of different shows all over with tons of different bands.
All underground stuff that's just edgy and can't get booked elsewhere.
He's just trying to
Cool as hell.
get everybody in, which is great. So yeah.
Hell yeah. And, with that said, this is As We Rise. I got Hannah and Eric dropped another banger. And earlier we had the guys from Force Feed, Zach, Marcus, and Jake. And again, both bands dropped some amazing tracks for us tonight. So I just want to take a few minutes to, thank you guys for making the time to show up to the show and putting in the hard work to make these tracks and giving us the opportunity to listen to them. All these bands, again, I plug the playlist a lot because we've heard a lot of great things from the playlist, but all these bands are going to be on the Banger Wednesday Spotify playlist. So if at any time tonight you can't remember where these bands told you to go to the Banger Wednesday Spotify playlist. You'll find them there, click on them, and then you'll be on their pages. That's what it's for, networking. So be sure to do that. Also do want to plug in again that we do have the Banger Wednesday merch store up. It's in our link tree. Go visit it, pick up something, help support these bands. And one thing everyone likes to hear on the Banger Wednesday show is prize giveaways. We are not doing the prize giveaway game on the episode tonight, but we are going to have a prize giveaway game, and we're going to do it on YouTube. So if you want a chance at winning some free Banger Wednesday merch, go to YouTube, subscribe to the page. It costs you absolutely nothing. And this is the one little catch, so I know that you want to win something. Go hit subscribe, and then on any of the Banger Wednesday episodes, go into the comment section and put certified. Type the word certified as your comment. I'll know that you're there. You want to win something. I will collect your name. And in a few episodes, we'll do a drawing, and somebody will win some free swag. So, again, YouTube, Banger Wednesday YouTube. Pick any episode, subscribe for free, and comment certified, and you're in for the drawing. That's all you have to do. And again, all these things we ask you guys to do is absolutely free, and it allows us the opportunity to do all these cool things for the bands. Okay, so support the bands, support the show. And real quick, Bo, Dom, you got anything to add before I wrap this up?
No, great show tonight, guys. Thank you guys for coming on and showing up. It's like coming from humble beginnings with Forge. Like he said, his first show, we didn't have a lot of people showing up. So it's nice to kind of be implementing this new platform, having you guys coming on and taking advantage of this and, the traction that we can give you. And so as this keeps growing, hopefully those views keep going up, more playlist integrations, and hopefully we can just get to a point where we're just really helping everybody. So
thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having us, and stay tuned for new singles. I think we're looking at here before the summer ends, dropping.
Yeah, we're trying to do once a month.
Yeah,
something like that.
Oh yeah, beat that algorithm.
Zach's gone, but thank you, Zach, because
I'm back for at least
hook
a
this
second.
up. Oh, there he is. Thank you, Zach, for hooking this up for us, man.
Thanks.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Nice to meet you all.
So this was an interesting one too. We have one band that's super heavy on the modern side, and one band that's still kind of hanging on to the old school, real amps and things like that vibe. It's a nice little mix.
Yin yang, man.
And then you're also doing like Florida and Colorado there, so nice little stretch across.
Yeah.
And for those that are not in America, that is a very long distance.
Yeah. All right. Well, hell yeah. So again, I do want to thank the band As We Rise and Force Feed. And I do want to give a special thanks to Dom and Bo for showing up every week and helping me out with the show. And special shout out to all of you on Twitch that's been with us since the beginning. And shout out to anyone listening on YouTube and on Riverside. If you're a new listener, thank you for listening to us on those platforms. We're still trying to get the reins under control on those two platforms, but we'll get there. Just bear with us. I swear we're professionals. But again, thank you everyone for showing up. And we end every show by playing a song off the Banger Wednesday playlist. And let's see, I think tonight we're going to play that band I mentioned earlier that was on tour with August Burns Red recently. So that's Sunmancer. We're going to play those guys. And with that said, we're going to end the show now. And everyone be safe. Keep banging your heads. And we will see you next Wednesday. So here we go. Let's check out some Sunmancer.